Collaboration looks good on paper. It feels good. It's great for customer experience. It used to be free, but now I think some vendors have changed their pricing. I believe Smartsheet has changed their pricing. So collaboration is no longer free.
Growing a business requires a holistic approach that extends beyond sales and marketing. This approach needs alignment among people, processes, and technologies. So if you're a business owner, operations, or finance leader looking to learn growth strategies from your peers and competitors, you're tuned into the right podcast. Welcome to the WBS Podcast, where scalable growth using business systems is our number one priority. Now, here is your host, Sam Gupta.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's show. And if you are joining for the first time, this is part of our industry series for which we meet every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern. We review one vendor or the solution. And for today, we have one of the hottest solution in the collaboration community, and it's called ClickUp. And if you have never heard of them, that means you need to be tracking the modern startups. So we are going to have a lot of fun discussing that. Before we do that, we are going to start with quick intros of everyone. About me, quickly, Sam Gupta, principal at Elevate IQ. Elevate IQ is the independent vendor agnostic analyst and advisory firm. On that note, Shrestha, do you want to introduce yourself quickly?
Hi everyone. My name is Shrestha Das, and I'm working as an research industry analyst, and I'm excited to be here today.
Okay, amazing. And if you're in the audience, make sure you guys post your questions, comments, stories. We are a big fan of this three-way conversation. So definitely looking forward to reviewing your experiences if you may have either used or experienced this platform, or you might simply have some sort of opinion. We always like very strong opinions. So bring them on. On that note, I'm going to start with the quick briefing. Shrestha, and I know you have done a lot of different collaboration category. And when I say collaboration category, I think this would fall under that the project management. So you have traditional project management category, and when I say project management, meaning there are two or three different kinds of project management as well. So you have the operational project management, and then you have the financial project management. So when you have to find the financial metrics versus operational management is going to be simply coordinating with people, managing their tasks, maybe managing their schedule, but that does not sort of tie into the financial metrics, which is going to be milestones, the invoices, the change orders, etc. So there are two categories in this space. One is going to be slightly more PSA, which correlates tightly with your ERP category. And the second is going to be the real project management. Now, inside the project management as well, you have two different categories at least. There are more. So inside project management, you are going to have the newer breed of project management. And when I say newer breed of project management, that is going to be designed for slightly more ad hoc workflows. They are also designed for collaboration. So that's the key for the newer breed of project management systems. Their design is very different, and they are able to do this because of the technology that they are using. And then you have the legacy project management systems. They are slightly different because they are designed for very rigid processes depending upon what you want. Do you want process control or do you want fluidity? So in some industries, if you have the rigid structure of project management, then some of these, if you are going to have rigid sort of structure based on your processes, or let's say if you're looking for fluid structure, then some of these rigid systems might not even work for your needs, and that's why there was a need for the fluid systems. And we have reviewed so many different ones. So you have monday.com table smart sheet, which is one category. In that case, you are not necessarily going to have any sort of framework implemented inside those. So that means you are looking at a lot more consulting help, a lot more configuration help. They have slightly more platform play. But with ClickUp, Notion is sort of in between. ClickUp is going to have the similar feeling as your legacy project management tools, which is going to be your Asanas of the world. It's probably going to be MS Project, which is going to feel as if you are using a project management tool. So you don't have to, implement, configure as much as you have to on Monday.com or your Table. But at the same time, you are also getting the collaboration as well as the fluidness of the model. So that's where the real strength is from the ClickUp's perspective. So overall positioning, when you think of ClickUp, this is going to be collaborative plus ad hoc project management. And these are the points that I have been hitting so far. But then they also have slightly more document centric workflow. We have seen this theme in several different categories. If I remember correctly, I think docs workflow was there with Pipedrive, but I don't know how fluid that experience is going to be. That experience would still be very rigid because they are very tightly intertwined with the CRM workflow. Docs, I don't know if we have seen anywhere else. I don't know if you recall, Shrestha, if you have seen anywhere else, but just doesn't ring a bell, I guess, in my ears. So basically, the whole idea of Docs is they are trying to replace Google Docs. Google Docs was known for collaboration, but as such, you did not have any sort of connectivity between those documents. The structure was very loose in general, so you could not necessarily get any sort of analytics from these documents, even though you had collaboration, but the experience was very siloed in general. So what these guys are trying to do is here, you not only have the collaboration, but that collaboration is sort of as part of the process. Plus they have the chat as well. So you are going to have Slack like experience, but then think of this as more of the Slack plus Google Docs plus CRM plus project management. They like to position themselves as CRM as well, but CRM is probably not going to be as rich as what you are going to find in the real CRM category. So that's with the overall positioning. I think they started as more of the project management. That was their beginning. They are expanding in other categories. They can do a lot as part of their ecosystem, but they are going to have a lot more apps the way sort of the Zoho model is designed, but Zoho is not necessarily designed for collaboration. Their technology, they are going to have a collaboration aspect, but it's just not going to be as fluid as what you are going to find with ClickUp's of the world, or Monday.com Airtable Smartsheet. But again, keep in mind, collaboration looks good on paper. It feels good. It's great for customer experience. It used to be free, but now I think some vendors have changed their pricing. I believe Smartsheet has changed their pricing. So collaboration is no longer free. So as long as you can justify the cost of customer experience, the customer experience that you are going to get here, because you have the client inputs that you can utilize them as part of your process, and then you are going to have your own internal team as well. That's where the real strength is of collaboration piece. But again, with some vendors, that's going to come at a cost. I don't know. I don't have enough data about ClickUp's pricing, if they have changed their pricing for collaboration as well. So we have one comment. We'll just discuss that. So Anders is saying ClickUp bills itself as the everything app for project management. Most we do everything claims. I have seen a few areas of excellence and rest. Just check the box. Where is ClickUp light on execution? So Anders, this is a great comment, and this could be applicable to pretty much every single software out there, I guess. But when you look at ClickUp, I would say they are able to do a lot from the project management perspective, but their limitation is going to be primarily in the operational side of the project management as well as the collaboration side of the project management. They are not necessarily into those financial boundaries. If they are going to be in those financial boundaries, for the most part, the experience is going to be very fluid, which is not going to give the same insights or the data integrity that you are going to get with systems that are going to have slightly tighter, data integrity. And that's where I guess there has to be some sort of balance in terms of whether you care for data integrity or do you care for fluidness. You don't get both. So with this, you are going to get fluidness, but where ClickUp is really successful, it is successful with tech-centric organizations, media-centric organizations, or maybe marketing. And these organizations, for them, the priority is slightly different. The priority is talent for them, and the talent that they have, number one, it is very expensive, and number two, they don't like to deal with anything financial. So in general, these organizations operate with a very different mindset. Regardless of what you are going to do, they might never use a very tight or rigid project management system, and that's why they don't like those, and they like ClickUp a little bit more. But for the most part, when they say everything F for project management, this everything is very project manager centric. This is very developer check, the way they like to see the world. So that would be everything here. Everything is not for every single function inside the company. That would be a misleading claim, I would say. So I don't know if that answers your question. If you have any follow up, please comment. So here, and again, the best comparison here is going to be either Notion or Monday.com. But again, ClickUp is going to have a little bit more than Notion. It's going to have a lot more than Monday.com Airtable Smartsheet. But then you might not have the same fluidness that you are going to get with Monday.com Airtable and a Smartsheet. So it's the degree of fluidness. If you draw some sort of, what is that timeline in terms of the degree, then you are going to have the tightest, and then you are going to have the most loose. The most loose is probably going to be your Monday.com Airtable Smartsheet. Then you are going to have probably Notion. Then you are going to have ClickUp, and then all the legacy, project management tools such as your, Asana, Wrike, etc. Trello is very fluid as well. That would fall somewhere in between, I guess. And then finally, you have ERP, which is the tightest, across all the processes. So that's how I would draw this. So here, I guess the competing technologies, you have Notion, you have Monday.com, you have Airtable as well as Smartsheet, and then legacy project management, systems. And primarily, if you look at their market share, which spaces are they disrupting? So either they are creating a new market or they are disrupting these legacy players. And there were tons and tons of project management players in general, project management, portfolio management. So they are sort of disrupting them. They are also disrupting Google Sheets. That's a big one because again, the idea here is for collaboration. And Google Sheets, they had a lot of market share. They are still probably going to have market share, but their scope is sort of changing with these new tools. And each of them probably have $1 billion in valuation. Every single player in the collaboration space is doing well. That is just mind blowing. They all are growing very. So here, the industries where you are going to find the most use cases is probably going to be in tech, agencies, media, retail, government, and not for profit. So I'll keep going here. So I'll quickly touch on different competitors. So in general, the way we like to do this table is that we like to give you the closest competitors. The closer are probably going to be together. If they are sort of far off, that means they might not be as close. So whenever you are reviewing ClickUp, most likely you are probably going to include Notion as well as part of your evaluation. You might include Monday.com, Airtable, Smartsheet, but if you are including anything else, that might be a little bit of stretch. Sometimes you might include some of those legacy players, But for the most part, if you are reviewing these guys together, that means you are sort of clear in terms of where each of these products stand. So again, for ClickUp, it's going to be collaboration, ad hoc project management, documentation or document-centric collab, not documentation, I guess. That is the power of ClickUp. Then you are going to have the project management, workflows and chat-centric workflows as well. Automation and integration. That is with the majority of the platforms these days. Sometimes those automations that you're going to have, they are going to be far more detailed compared to very basic automation. So that's where the fine line is. But for the most part, most SaaS systems these days have some sort of automation integration built with them. Now, here's where you are going to find some of the cons, and that you can review on review forums as well. That users are complaining that it could be glitchy. Now, glitchy could be because of two things. It could be because of implementation, or sometimes it's also because of permission issue. So I don't know why these users felt that ClickUp could be glitchy, but this is very consistent theme that we found across reviews. On several reviews, we have reviewed at least 10, 15, and they all were complaining about that. And we are always looking for some sort of trend before we conclude, anything for our analysis. And then overall, I guess steep learning curve is going to be there, but depending upon the background of the user, where they are coming from. If they are going to come from, let's say, Monday.com, Airtable, Smartsheet, then they are going to probably find that they have a steep learning curve. But let's say if they are coming from slightly more legacy project management tools, then it might not be as steep. So again, it's very subjective in terms of what is going to be steep and what is going to be easy. So in this case, this is going to be slightly harder to learn, meaning you would need some consulting help here. So this is probably ideal fit for SMBs seeking, again, if collaboration is your need, if your project management needs are ad hoc, then this would make sense for you. Notion is slightly more document storage centric tool. It's a lot more fluid than ClickUp. On ClickUp, with ClickUp, you are going to find the project management functionality built up. With Notion, it might not be as intuitive. It might feel as if you are using a database. Some people like it, especially developers, if they are used to using database for their own workflow. But again, it might not be for everyone. So that's a minor difference between Notion. We are going to review Notion. I don't think we have done that so far. So stay tuned for that review. Monday.com, Airtable, Smartsheet, we have already reviewed. Those sessions are available on our YouTube channel. The easiest way to find that would be Monday.com plus Elevate IQ on our YouTube, and then you'll be able to find that. But for the most part, these are slightly more platform-centric platforms. So you are going to get very spreadsheet view. That spreadsheet can be manifested into different forms, such as your board, calendar, etc. There might be a little connectivity between these words, but for the most part, it's a fancy spreadsheet. That's what Monday.com, Airtable, and Smartsheet is. To enable the kind of project management that ClickUp is able to provide, you would require a lot more heavy lifting. Obviously, they are going to have some add-ons built on that. But again, you would need to spend a lot of time, energy, consulting to be able to figure out, how the project management is going to work on top of those platforms. So that's a major difference. I'll keep going here unless we have any more comments here. Okay, so now these are the historical stories. So I would say it's a fairly new platform. So this story is coming from 2020, and 2020 is when they had done their Series A. Can you believe that was $35 million? So it's a brand new company. They started around COVID, and we have been in recession since 2020, and they already have $1 billion valuation. It's just mind blowing what they have done in this account. That's how powerful and hot this technology is. So here they are saying launches remote work OS product suite, Series A funding led by Craft Ventures with participation from Georgian partners. And then they are saying ClickUp helps customers including Google, Nike, Uber, Airbnb, Netflix, Ubisoft by replacing all of the workplace applications they use on a daily basis. If you notice a theme between these logos, they are all very enterprise logos, and they all are very tech-centric organization. Even though some people might argue that Netflix is probably media, Airbnb is probably in real estate, but again, that's a very tech organization. Uber is a very tech organization. Nike is sort of apparel, I would say, but still they are still very tech organization from the mindset perspective. So for the most part, when you look at these logos, don't conclude that they are running their entire tech stack on this platform. For the most part, this is going to be used at the team level, at the departmental level, for any of the ad hoc projects. That's how they have all of the logos. So again, when you look at the operational core, the needs of the operational core is going to be very different from these ad hoc one-time projects that you might be doing in your legal department, in your tech department, in your development department. So the process or the need is very different, and for those needs which is not going to be part of your operational core, these software, they do wonders for that, and that's where they have these logos. Now some more quotes here. So they're saying ClickUp has 100 plus native integrations, as well as integrations with 1,000 plus common workplace tools, including Google Drive, Slack, Zoom, Salesforce, GitHub, and Zendesk. And this is a very common tech stack, especially among tech organizations. They are very best of breed. They don't like to use a integrated platform. They don't have the same problems that the majority of the, let's say, the product centric organizations are going to have, or the construction centric organizations are going to have, where they have to measure cost, or they are working for a client. In most cases, these are going to be internal projects, so they don't have the same financial needs that the external facing organizations are going to have. So that's going to be another layer in terms of the project management, whether you are managing internal project versus external project. For external projects, you require a lot more financial tracking, financial reporting, because your clients are going to require that. When you are working on the internal project, even if you are posting sort of the summarized version, that's probably going to be okay inside your company. So in 90% of the cases, this technology is probably going to be used for the internal project management, in most cases R&D centric projects. So here they are saying the ClickUp platform provides teams of 2 to 2000 access to productivity tools in one seamless platform, and is customizable for any team, regardless of size, technical ability, or workflow. So this market segment, if you notice, this is very similar to how HubSpot used to position. So it's very, 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 similar target market segment. In fact, they had the same wording, 2 to 2000. I don't know where that is coming from. Maybe they don't want to sell to a team of one, I guess, but they will sell to two. So that's very interesting. But that's up to 2000. So again, very, very, very similar mindset as how HubSpot had defined their market segment. In fact, their marketing strategy is very similar to them as well. I'll keep going here. Here, like most businesses, my previous company had to use so many different productivity and project management tools to manage various functions across the organization. And I knew there had to be a better, smarter way to improve productivity at work. Now, depending upon how you define productivity, if productivity for you is just the operational tasks and operational performance, just because you are moving faster, that's completely okay. But that may not necessarily be financial productivity. Financial productivity is slightly different when you have the understanding of the cost and the cost elements. In your case, you probably don't need that. So again, this comment is great, but again, this is only about the operational productivity, just to be clear. Then we have some more comments here. So here they are saying collaboration software was already a $45 billion market globally in 2019, but the need is only growing, which is right as well. Collaboration is definitely hot because it is aiding to that customer experience, which is critical, and customers are probably going to define this need, especially in the customer-centric industries. So if you care for CX, then you would probably appreciate that, especially when you are going to have project-centric organizations where clients care for visibility, then you would probably appreciate something like then they are saying this is again 2020, so it's very close to the previous story. So here they are saying ClickUp raises $100 million Series B as demand for its productivity platform Source, bringing its total funding to $135 million. That's total funding. That means $1 billion valuation already within a year. Mind blowing. Combined with this new funding, it is positioned to lead the productivity management software, which is right, which is expected to exceed, $102 billion by 2027. I That's a lot. I don't know how much ARR that every player that we have in this market segment have. I thought they all had $1 billion ARR, not valuation. I don't know, Srestha, if you remember, but I believe they had $1 billion ARR, each one of them. Monday.com, Airtable, Smartsheet, they all had $1 billion in ARR. But by 2027, it might be harder, especially given the current precedent run in the economy, I guess. But that's a very stretch goal, I would say, by 2027. Now, I can probably believe maybe 30, 40, maybe 50, but this is definitely a stretch. Okay, so one thing that we are noticing, and there was a story yesterday from Asana that the CEO resigned from Asana, so that's a very interesting move in the industry as well. Asana had substantial market share. It's also one of the favorite platform, but it seems like they are not doing as good as the other platforms. So maybe these platforms are probably taking their market share. So here they are saying development, marketing, sales, finance, design, and more can all work in ClickUp and create unparalleled business alignment and efficiency. Primarily used by tech and agencies, Asana and Atlassian's market share, even though Atlassian, they have introduced a collaboration-centric product, but I don't know how successful they are. It might be harder to penetrate with their branding in marketing. Generally, legacy platforms, even if they improve their technology, they generally struggle with penetration. But that's not with everyone. So we still need to watch, how Atlassian is going to do in the long term. But it seems like they have come up with at least the technology. I don't know how close that is with these platforms, but they have done something there. So now the story is coming from 2021, and here they are saying ClickUp today announced that it has partnered with Padres to help power the team's IT operations. And again, for media, sports centric industries, they have very fluid structure, including their compensation. Their processes are changing on a daily basis. So for them, these software are a great fit, and that's where they are finding a lot more revenue with similar organizations. In 90% of the cases, these organizations never sort of had one software, CRM, ERP that could work for them. So now these platforms are working for them. They are sort of automating their process. For the most part, they were running on spreadsheets in the past. So those are the spreadsheets that are being replaced. Again, these are sports franchise, media companies. That's where these guys have real play. So now we have Series C funding, and we have very savvy investors that got involved in this. And here they are talking about roughly a $4 billion valuation. Again, that's very high. Just within 2-3 years, they have had $4 billion valuation. 2021, they are saying today announced the launch of whiteboards. And whiteboards, I would say, is very interesting technology. And they have claimed that this technology is going to be super hot as well. Even though I would argue that Figma is doing really well, but Miro is probably struggling. And these guys are trying to claim that they can do, whatever Miro is able to do. So that's where I guess the gap is. I don't know whether Miro is most likely they are probably losing the market share right now, just because companies are able to use ClickUp for the same need. But here the claim is that the global interactive whiteboard market is expected to reach roughly $2.31 billion by 2025. But there is a caveat here, because when you look at the interactive whiteboard market, I think they are only considering, or they have assumed that this was only about the digital whiteboard market. There is a physical whiteboard market which is far more compelling than the digital whiteboard market, even though the physical might use these technologies as well. But for the most part, this market is about the physical whiteboard where you have real interaction. That's what is hot in settings such as your client interactions in school, in classes, in government settings, when you have to do collaboration over Zoom, but then you can write on a board. Media companies, news companies, they use that. So I think they are talking about that market. It's not necessarily ClickUp's market. Here now they are talking about docs have historically been one of the most frequently used products within the ClickUp platform, and that is right as well, because nobody else has that. Even with Monday.com, etc., you are probably going to struggle because you can get that, but you are not going to get docs. So docs is where the real play is for ClickUp, and I think Notion does have doc, but with ClickUp, you're going to find a lot more in general. So Notion and ClickUp, that's why they are close, because they have a lot more. Here, some comments related to their features. So they are saying organized docs, meaning you have the real organization, and even Google Drive, OneDrive, they could be a little messy in finding the docs. So here you have the enterprise search as well, which is far more effective, even though you have enterprise search inside your Google Docs as well. But again, it's just not as structured as what you are going to find with ClickUp. And then you have the customizable design as well. So customizable design is going to be any sort of changes that you need to make with your typography, any sort of header section, etc. And this is going to be helpful when you are going to send any sort of quotes. So this is much easier to be able to manage inside ClickUp than, or invoices, etc. Some companies do use this for sending the invoices, but again, they are not going to get the same financial control, the same financial tightness that they will get with a real ERP system. So that is something you need to keep in mind. But if you care for fluidness, then for that, this is a great platform. Then you have the headers. Yeah, I don't have any other comments. So these are all details related to capabilities of their docs. So I'll keep going here. So some more stories coming from 2022. And here they are saying they have announced the acquisition of Slapdash, a leading unified search and command bar platform. With the integration of Slapdash, ClickUp will make it easier for employees to harness company knowledge regardless of where it lives. And again, this is very interesting. So here, number one, they are going to get the unified search as well as the command bar platform. So in my mind, I think that that's a very technical acquisition, which might be okay because they have several different integrations and they have to enable that unified search. So that's okay. In general, I'm not a big fan of technical acquisitions, but here they are getting some power. So I'm okay with that. Then they are talking about, ClickUp has achieved ISO 27001, 27017, and I don't know which companies are going to care for these certifications, to be completely honest. Even though they are going to claim that this is probably going to be enterprise offering because of these certifications, but for enterprise capabilities, you probably would require a lot more. But in general, let's say if the IT is mandating, let's say in tech or media centric organizations, that the product, even if they are going to be very consumer centric products, they need to be certified with these certifications, then you have sort of the compliance check there. But for the most part, I mean, they are going to argue that this is the enterprise offering, but as such, enterprise could mean a lot of different things. So read between the lines and make sure when they say enterprise, it's aligned with your needs as well. One more story here. So here they are saying ClickUp and HubSpot today announced the launch of highly requested partnership. So they are very close with HubSpot as well. And again, HubSpot, ClickUp, they are very similar platform. And in general, HubSpot does not have the project management capabilities and the docs collaboration as well. So that's a great partnership in general. And the industries that HubSpot is targeting, they are very similar to ClickUp. So this is a great alignment. So here they have one more comment, which is very timely, I would say. So they are saying when client teams move work forward, handoffs are now done automatically and with all the right information. As a result, stakeholders can stay on top of each phase of the customer journey as customer progresses from delivery to renewal. And when you talk about renewal, etc., obviously HubSpot cannot do much there. They would rely on add-ons. They are primarily going to be good in the pre-sales centric processes. They are not going to be as good even during the sales process as well. So that's where I guess ClickUp has great alignment with HubSpot. Okay, I'll keep going here. So these are the customer stories, and we'll review some of the use cases in how these companies are using ClickUp. So here, this is the delivery service company, and for delivery service, again, these companies are very different as well. Compared to, for example, let's say if you compare this with manufacturing distribution, even if you compare this with logistics or transportation, it could be very different because for the most part, my understanding of this is going to be this is almost like a marketplace, the way the business model of this delivery service is going to be. So what they are saying is providing delivery services from various retailers for groceries. So this is almost like, what is that? Grubhub, right? Grubhub, or Ritual was the Canadian company, which is no longer there, I guess. So these are different delivery companies, and here this was the brainchild of Target. They sort of created this, and they were providing delivery for Target. So here they have used this inside their data platform team, and in general, data platform team is going to have very siloed representation inside the IT department as well. So generally, they are going to have requests from many different teams. Your procurement, your supply chain. Sometimes they are going to have requests from the customers as well in providing the data. So they are using this for that. So they are saying ensuring that they had one tool to connect teams in different departments and collaborate on work was essentials. So here they are saying shipped, consolidated all data related request information and projects with ClickUp. Its robust task management capabilities made it easy for the team to organize and prioritize inbound requests and projects. So for the most part, this is really the function of the data team in terms of their inbound request and their deliveries. That's what they are talking about. This is not about the whole organization. So again, this is used at a very departmental level. So they are saying with ClickUp's advanced dashboards and reporting tool, Shift now accesses real-time data on project delivery. And these are the very small projects that they are doing, data related projects for their internal stakeholders as well as external stakeholders, executive feedback, and team productivity. This visibility has empowered management to make informed decisions, certainly ensuring that resources are, again, so I don't know which decisions they are talking about. For the most part, this is going to be very operational in nature. The data that you are going to get is going to be very operational in nature as well. But for the most part, for their function, it might be okay just with this. And if you look at the buyer who has bought this, most likely these are going to be either project managers or project directors or PMO people. They care for financials. They don't care as much for financials as a CFO would care for. So there is a little distinction in terms of who is the buyer for these products. So here they are saying ClickUp's automation have streamlined repetitive data processing tasks like higher level roadmaps and moving tasks to other backlogs based on selections from a form, and the form intake itself is a major piece of functionality here, that most of the collaboration platforms are going to have. So now you can automate all of those requests as opposed to them sending you emails, a spreadsheet in terms of what they are looking for. So now you have designed some sort of processes, forms, you are taking some sort of intake from different teams, the kind of request that they are going to have. So now you are doing sort of the workflow automation, workflow collaboration. That's the right term. But for the most part, this is going to be internal collaboration. Sometimes this could be with your customer and vendors as well, when you have to get these ad hoc data needs, and then you have very ad hoc projects as well. Yeah, so I don't have anything else on this one. So we have one more customer story here, and this is coming from Let's. And Let's, I would say this is retail. And again, retail is a very interesting, industry as well. For the most part, even the enterprise retailers are going to have very distributed, enterprise architecture. They are going to have very siloed systems in general. They generally are not on one system. So in this case, even for Let's, this might make sense. Here they are saying sitting at the crossroads of fandom and fashion, Litz provides sports, headwear and apparel across North America, Europe, and Australia. In general, with these businesses, you have a lot more complications. So we are going to touch on those. So here they are talking about Litz, over 1,200 plus retail stores and affiliated concept stores. And when you have those affiliated concept stores, they have very unique business model as well. The kind of franchise exchange that you are going to have with them is going to be fairly unique. The kind of collaboration that you're going to have, it's a very different business model from the core business model. Offer officially licensed hardware, and whenever you have licensing complications in general, that is going to have a lot more complications in the business model, because you are going to have this whole document workflow that you have to manage with licensor and licensee, and then you have the compliance workflow. So those are all different complications that are going to be there with the license business. And they are saying from collegiate teams and major professional sports teams. So it's almost like CRM, but much more than CRM. And it's going to be a very different CRM functionality that these companies are going to require, as well as branded headwear. So you are going to have collaboration with your design teams, and generally ClickUp is very heavy in design centric functions, wherever design and marketing is going to be very heavily involved. Those are the teams that platforms such as ClickUp are using, but they are also going to use ClickUp plus Figma. Figma is very hot. They are most likely going to be on HubSpot as well. They like HubSpot a lot. Then they are saying, headwear and other specialty fashion categories. And then they are saying my department, again, implemented at the department level, was just a department of one until a year. So look at the footprint. Even though the company is really big, but in this case, this is a department of one. I was hire number 3, and now we are a team of 6. And this is coming from Mali, and Mali is the project manager, and they are at the store planning level. So for each store, you are probably going to have a store planning manager. Sometimes they might have more than one store that they might be managing, but for the most part, at the store level, you are going to have many different requests that you need to manage. Those are going to be data requests related to your inventory, merchandising planning, branding, samples, so many different things. And that is all very fragmented, the way architecture works inside retail organizations, and that's why they are able to use it here. They are saying at the time employees were relying on spreadsheets and emails. That was the traditional workflow for most retail organizations. Even today, 80% of the retail organizations are probably going to operate this way, to manage projects and using other tools such as Microsoft OneNote and Teams, as well as Trello. Trello was very heavily used as well. So they are saying, let's evaluate it ClickUp versus Monday.com, which is a fair comparison. And these two should be evaluated together. The company appreciated ClickUp's, and they have slightly better sales team. Monday.com is very hands-off approach, the way their sales organization works. So that's why they appreciated ClickUp's, sales approach a little bit more. And then they are saying, let's use ClickUp for construction, store planning, facilities, operations, marketing. And when they say operations, this is probably store operations, marketing, custom, custom. I don't know what custom is there. Finance and buying. Buying would be procurement. Finance, depending upon if finance is sort of requesting data. Again, the reason why they're able to use this is because the systems are very fragmented, very siloed. That's why they have to have this internal collaboration. The construction is going to be store construction. In general, even if you had ERP, you would probably not use ERP for those internal projects. Depending upon who's the stakeholder, if CFO is going to be there, they generally prefer ERP. But for the most part, for these projects, you are probably going to use something like store planning has very similar life cycle. It has a lot of different moving pieces that need to be managed. So for those use cases, store planning, event management, facility management, This is a great cut. Now, this is a gaming company, and gaming is a very interesting industry as well. And for this, it would make sense. So here they are saying the company creates top performing games with high quality graphics. For the most part, from the business model perspective, gaming is going to be very technology, media centric organization. The kind of moving pieces that you are going to have inside your media organizations, this is going to be very similar as well. So here, this one, they transformed its a project management approach by switching from Jira to ClickUp. So they came from Jira, so they are taking away Jira's market share, and again, that is your Atlassian market share. For the most part, they are replacing the ad hoc project management PMO centric workflow. Jira's rigid structure, they did not appreciate Jira. Obviously, they would absolutely hate any sort of CRM ERP if they could not appreciate Jira. Rigid structure made it cumbersome to adopt on the fly and integrate new learnings from previous projects into the game development process. And game development is a very different process. And they are saying migrate complex game development processes to a new system without disrupting ongoing projects would be a challenge, as would overcoming resistance from nearly 200 engineers. And these engineers are probably going to be some sort of game engineers, software developers. So those are the stakeholder for this software. And they are saying the requests are prioritized based on custom feasibility formula considering revenue, maintenance, project delivery costs. So they have some random algorithm there that they are using to prioritize, which is okay, but that is still very operational centric function from the project. Now, this is a very interesting story as well, because this one is coming from a manufacturer. And in this case, this is a cement manufacturer. And this is construction industry. So construction could have different business models as well. For some business models, you have a lot more collaboration in general, and then you will be using a platform like this on top of your core ERP, core financial software. So some companies are going to use it that way as well, because 90% of the ERP systems, they are going to be really bad at collaboration. Even if they are going to have the collaboration functionality, they are never going to get the same feeling that they will get with something like ClickUp. But at the same time, the integration is probably going to be a challenge with these systems, just because the data models are very, very, very different in both of these. So they are saying it only took 1 week for CMEX marketing team. So again, this is used by marketing, and that's where marketing is very rarely a consumer of the core ERP CRM systems. They might be there, but for the most part, they are not there. So this is primarily for marketing operations, marketing workflow management is where this is being used. Team of 50 employees to make the switch from Reich. Now, in this case, they are coming from Reich. They did not like Reich, and Reich is a fairly modern platform. It's going to be far more comparable with Asana. I would say it's slightly more rigid than Asana, but they did not like this. So, but they seems like they are appreciating ClickUp more. So here they are saying when a stakeholder fills out a form, and for the most part, I think they must like this because of the collaboration aspect. A form to request a project, and these are going to be marketing projects, logo changes, document changes, case studies, whatever. It could be anything, right? This automatically triggers the creation of the project with a custom template and directly assigns it to the marketing planning team. Obviously, when you have an organization like this, the marketing team is going to be much bigger, so they need something for their workflow management. Again, they are very rarely on the core operational software. They don't need to be there. Prior to ClickUp, we handled our intranet, and again, they use the word intranet, which was a very common term in maybe 90s, I guess. When we did not have software like this. So intranet is what is being replaced. I think intranet was synonymous with something like SharePoint. Obviously, Microsoft is claiming that they have very similar capabilities as well, but ClickUp is taking a lot more market share from that. So they used to use something like Frontify, and there are many, many, many tools out there just for that specific capability. But they are not going to have the collaboration aspect. That's why ClickUp is taking all of that market share. We want people to live in ClickUp every single day, so we decided to create the intranet right in the platform. Intranet is a great term that, again, that's my comment, I guess. So intranet is probably the right way of thinking, what ClickUp is. Then we have one more story here. So here, this is what? This one is media, some sort of media or entertainment, organization. So I think they are bowling equipment, and I think yeah, they are doing the bowling equipment manufacturing. And here they are saying project coordination team is responsible for creating processes to support on-site implementation of the company's bowling gear and machinery at customer facilities worldwide. Now, this is a very interesting use case because this is probably going to be a very field service. And in this case, you also have the inventory involved. When you are going to have inventory involved, obviously ClickUp is not going to be good at that. ClickUp is only good at the project management, the task management, the coordination. But when you have the inventory centric functionality, when you have to manage the cost of these projects, that is something that you are not going to get with ClickUp. So that's where I guess in this particular case, it might be overused. Some people might like it just because they are getting that fluentness collaboration. They can collaborate easily. But when you get into the real operational financial workflows, in this case, the warranty is not necessarily involved. But when you are going to have warranty centric workflows, then this might be slightly trickier to manage. So pay attention to the use case, how it is being used, even though they have used in this case, but they will probably run into challenges. So here they are saying now all teams involved with the client project delivery collaborate and communicate in ClickUp, including sales, project coordination, quoting. So they are managing some quoting workflow inside that as well, which could be very interesting because you are bringing a lot of data, you are keeping that data inside ClickUp, and then you are sending a lot of data. I don't know. It could be challenging. They are doing order entry there. Wow. Now, are you using this as CRM as well? That's definitely a stretch. Uh, and then electronic production, lab teams as well. So they have their lab teams. For lab teams, that might be okay. But again, it's a little bit of a stretch in my mind. But for these industries, you had very, I would say, industry specific quoting estimation software. So maybe they are being replaced with this as well. But again, you are probably not going to get the same feeling for the estimation, quoting, etc., that you would get with those industry specific software when you look at, industries such as your print, packaging. They have very unique, architecture industry. They have very unique estimation process because they're the kind of, bombs or the BIMs they are going to have. They are going to be very different. So for them, the quoting process is very different. So I would say this is a little bit of a stretch, for this, but again, depending upon the use case. And pay attention to this comment here. They are saying ClickUp's Zapier integration. So they are using Zapier, which is okay for lighter integration when you are doing SaaS to SaaS integration, but that is not necessarily designed for the core operational financial integration when you are going to have money involved in your transactions, because this is probably not going to be as reliable the way these APIs are designed, the way these integration workflows are designed. So again, this is designed for very light communication where you don't have dollars involved, but they are using that. So then to connect, they have the project intake tool called Cognito Forms. So I don't know why they are using Cognito Forms now, because technically if you're using ClickUp, then you should be using their forms. So for whatever reason, they had to use that, and then they are using, ClickUp Zapier to connect, and then ClickUp as well, obviously. And then they have the Twilio integration. That's okay because they have to do SMS, which is okay, which is not as bad. If you're doing that communication, so I can probably do one more slide and then we can look at comments. So this is these are coming from Reddit pages, and this is from 10 months ago. So here they are saying our company uses Notion for knowledge management, memory, storing, and Basecamp for project management. This was a very common, architecture in these organizations where they would use something like Basecamp or Jira or Asana or Rai for project management, and then the knowledge, management was different, and that's what ClickUp has brought together. That's a real, benefit of ClickUp. So we were thinking of migrating to ClickUp, but after some Reddit reviews, we are insecure. So in this case, they did not, migrate to ClickUp. So we have some more commentary here. So this is also coming from 10 months ago. They are saying if ClickUp worked properly, it would be a great choice. It doesn't, to the point that it becomes unstable for my teams due to performance issues. So this is one comment related to performance issues. We have one more comment here 10 months ago, same here with performance issues. So I don't know why they are getting the performance issues. That would be my challenge. ClickUp is a feature rich and we really like. And for the most part, the model is very lean. So they should technically not have performance issues, but they are. The complexities regarding privacy and share configurations. In general, I have seen these complaints with the other platforms as well. Collaboration looks good on paper, but managing those privacy things, especially if the model is not designed like the enterprise platforms, it could be very tricky to manage. Even inside Microsoft, in 4, it's a very hard to manage, and that does require a little bit of consulting help in how you want to model your permission set. If you don't maintain that, then you are probably going to run into challenges. Some more people confirm that permissions, they don't like permissions, and this is the real security threat, because you are sharing these documents and some of these could be very confidential IP for your organization. So be careful there. Collaboration is great, but be super careful in terms of what you're sharing. Here, 10 months ago, one thing you should know is ClickUp is very slow overall. So one more comment related to slow. 10 months, then this person is disagreeing, completely disagree with this. I find ClickUp to be very quick. So we have seen both comments. So there are mixed reviews, but we have seen a lot more for the slowness as well as the complexity, I would say, and the permission issues. This user is saying simply opening a task will take more than 2 seconds to fully load. That's a lot of time. This is coming from 10 months ago. And then this person is saying, how many users do you all have? And this person is saying that, you know what, I just have one user. And with one user, obviously, it's so bad. Anybody. And sometimes that could be because of the plan, the way it might be implemented. But again, that's very slow. Okay. All right. So I think we can open up for comments. So Shrestha, do you have any comments?
I just feel like with respect to ClickUp, businesses first should have a proper understanding of how fluid their business processes are, and then kind of decide if they want to go forward with it. Like you said, even though there are many benefits, but you will face some of the difficulties
Yeah,
if
could
there's
not.
a proper understanding. Yeah.
Yeah, could not agree more. I think great comment, and that's where, depending upon how much ad hocness do you need in your processes, how much collaboration you need, that's what should dictate whether this is going to be the right fit. But for the most part, if you are going to have slightly deeper operational transactional use cases, then I don't know if this is. All right, so that's a wrap. If you joined for the first time, this was part of our industry series for which we meet every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern. So make sure you guys are going to be here next week. We are going to come back with another vendor or the solution. On that note, thanks for tuning in, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the WBS podcast. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform so you never miss an episode. For more information on growth strategies for SMBs using ERP and digital transformation, check out our community at WBS.rocks. We'll see you next time.